Okay, we're doing a comparison of different door locks that are suitable for travellers. I have two wedges, 1 and 2. You can see they're almost the same. Different prices, different quality, different ways of working, but basically the same principle. We have the door jammer, which is like a wedge, but just engineered differently. Then I have two different locks. I have the Life Venture model and one which is just labelled as a portable lock. So this one is Chinese made. Well, they're probably all made in China or somewhere, but this is a sort of copy of this, I think. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's what it seems like. So these work on the door fitting into the frame. These work on something underneath the door to stop the door moving. So these are friction and these are prevention of movement of the door in the latch. So quality wise, what do I think? Plastic, cheap, rubber, disposable, can't really go wrong. Take one hell of a battering. The friction caused by the slope is immense. Quality is, let's face it, it's rubbish. It's cheap, but very, very cheerful. I would always put one of these in my travel luggage. They're so simple. You can buy them anywhere. You can buy them nearly every country that I've been to. I think everywhere I've been, I've managed to get one of these. So even if I was in China, in a quite remote area of China, and one disappeared, I could still replace it. So I think you will probably get that in some form or another everywhere in the world. This is cheap rubber with, it's not even solid, but it has support functions in there. You can get wood ones, you can get metal ones I've seen. But, for me, simple, from, a Western country, I can get hold of a rubber one really easy online or any hardware shop. So simple to use, so cheap. I would always use one of those. So that, to me, although, we're not comparing similar, I would always have that. That, to me, is a 10 out of 10. It's not as good as some of these, but for what it's meant for and the price benefit ratio of this is just phenomenal. Whoever came up with that idea, probably hundreds of years ago, it's exceptionally such a good idea. Works really well. So this is the Friedland, which we did a review of. It's an alarmed version of the door wedge. Disadvantages are you need batteries. It's more likely to get broken because there's bits in there that move. This, for instance, goes up and down. If this jams, so for instance, if that was to jam in some way, then it won't work. Okay, so it's useless. It's not that great a door wedge. It's not as good a door wedge as this. You can see I can get, once I start coming in, the door, it won't wedge under the door very well, because that's not the idea. The idea is you're after that movement. You're after the trigger. I want that to trigger. So if I push that under the door, it won't work because it's going to be going all the time. It's an alarm. It's meant to go beep, beep. Okay. And I'll turn it on so you can see that. But cover your ears, okay, because it's quite loud. If you were sleeping in the room with this, you would definitely 100% wake up. Okay. So as the door opens, that's why you can't push it under. If I wedge that under the door, we're like that. So no one wants to be doing that. Okay. It's slightly heavier. It's not a ridiculous weight, but you do have the electronics in here and a battery as well. It's a 9-volt square battery. 9-volt square batteries aren't always that easy to get hold of. In the UK, in Western Europe, probably very easy. In the States, probably very easy. Once you start going further afield, you might find that they're not always that available. Any 7-Eleven, any corner shop, you can normally get AA's, AAA's, but the square 9 volts aren't always as available. It's a decent product. I like the idea of the alarm. You know, there's a development of it you know, I saw door chains in the past that had alarms, and I had a relative who was blind who used to use that all the time. So they used to leave the door open but leave it on the alarm so that they would know when people were coming. Not always meant as an anti-theft thing, just in general. So there are advantages to an alarm, but there's disadvantages as well. It's not my favourite. I get the idea, but yeah, to me it's not the best. So that's 2. The door jammer. It's a little bit heavier. The engineering and build quality on it is exceptional. It's solid, it feels solid. It's got added additions like door wedges, so you can wedge so that the door is tight to the frame. It's adjustable with this, so you can adjust to the height. If you've got a big gap, you've got this added extra rubber foot. Yeah, quality is it just seeps quality. It just feels good, you know. It's well made, it's well put together. You know, they're proud of it, their name's all over it. It comes in a nice little velvety bag, which is almost irrelevant until you think I've got to travel and I've got several bits. Well, there we go. You're now ready to travel. I really like this product. It's a good, nice quality, well made, really good product. If I had a choice, I would probably take one of these and a rubber stopper. If I wanted to be really sure and wasn't secure, I would take one of these, a rubber wedge, and one of these 2. So one of these 2 in case the door wasn't suitable for a door wedge. So for instance, I can't think of a situation, but I'm sure there are cases, and I'm sure I've come across cases where a door wedge wasn't suitable. I'm not sure why, but there could be a million reasons why, and then you're stuck. So if I have no plan B, what do? I can put a chair against it, I can use a belt, or much better idea, throw one of these in. You know, when I go, what I do is those 2 go in, that goes in there, that goes elsewhere in a different bag. So if I lose a case or a bag, I've still got one, but that sits in there with me. So this, the LifeVenture travel door lock, is just such a nice product. It is so simple. It is ridiculously easy to use. So that goes in against the frame. This fits in the hole. So the door shuts. As the door shuts, the little latch fits into the door frame. Where the latch goes, this goes. That sits in there. Fits against the door, tightens. So the door tries to push, it won't go anywhere because it's wedged like that. So the only reason I've seen it fail is people do this with it. They just put it in, not realising that you're supposed to have it tight to the door. I mean, the whole idea of this is as I push that in, it closes the gap. So the only time I've seen it go wrong is where people have had the door here and it's done this and it smashes against it. And obviously this is just plastic. But once I feed that in and the door is solid against there. That takes an awful lot to move that. Similar principle with this one. Fits in again into the hole with the latch. But can you see here, if I show you this way, this is a lot wider. And I found a couple of doors where this hasn't worked. It's been too big. Whereas that is narrower. I don't know if you can see that, there's a gap. Okay, so this will fit in a lot smaller ones, although it doesn't go that deep. That won't always fit in, but goes deeper and it's metal. Same principle, goes in, you put that in there, and the same idea, you push this up against the door so it's solid, so there's no movement. Okay. Both fairly simple. I personally prefer this one just because the weight and the ease of use. So the way I travel, that goes in there. I've both options. I have a door jamb and a latch catch, if that makes sense. And that goes somewhere else. What I normally do, hand luggage for the door wedge, in the case of those two. And that's the way I would travel. If I lose my case, I've still got this plan B. Just a nice simple way of doing it. Works quite well. You're not taking metal through security, so you're not getting asked what that's for. Just very, very easy. And that would be my choice. Not bad product really amongst them. It's just a personal preference. I would decide what you want to do and go with and decide what one you want. Cost wise, I think the door jammer is the most expensive, then you're into the alarm, then you're into the Life Venture travel lock, then you're into the portable lock, and then you're into the door wedge. And that's the way the pricing structure works. So basically you've got a tiered options. The only one that I really don't like that much is the alarmed one, if I'm honest. I get the idea that you want something that's going to trigger an alarm. But for me, the alarm, not so useful. So I would not go with that. I would go with the others. However, if I wanted just to be informed when someone pushed the door, I could be visually impaired. It could be, I'm slow to move. I could be wheelchair bound or something. Then possibly this would have more use than I currently see it as. But for me, that isn't my preference. So I would go with the door jammer and the Life Venture travel lock. Very, very easy. If you look at the reviews I've done on the Life Venture and the portable door lock, you'll see how they work, because they're probably, it's not self-explanatory, and the instructions, the instructions are so-so. The instructions make a lot of sense when you've used it and understand how it works. Then you look at the instructions and go, oh, yeah, why did I not understand that? But unless you've used it, it doesn't always make sense. So sometimes, you'll see people trying to, oh, I can't fit this, it doesn't work. No. 1, 2, okay. Same with this. I've seen people with it the wrong way through, and then, I can't get this to work. Oh, no, it's the right way through, that way through. So, I can't get this to work. Well, it doesn't go that way, it goes that way. Once you've worked it out, it's really simple. And as I say, the instructions do make lots of sense, But for me, they make a lot of sense when you know how it works. When you're still unsure and not really clear on how it works, it can be quite difficult. But that's just my personal view. There we go. Thank you very much.